Hello everyone, I'm JG and welcome back to MusicForever, where today I'm going to be reviewing the new EP from Crash Thompson, the GarageBand demos. Now Crash Thompson you probably best know as the Rock Critic, another YouTuber who reviews music, primarily rock music as you might be able to guess from his name, and just other YouTube music stuff. If you like the stuff I have going on my channel and are a fan of rock music, I highly recommend you check out his own channel. I'm going to have it linked in the description down below because you could also listen to the tracks on this EP there. So, maybe if you want to check out this EP, follow the link down below, listen to the EP, check out some of his other videos because they are very good. They are worth watching in my opinion. I am a fan of his work outside of this EP here that we're talking about today. So, of course, he dropped this EP. And of course, given that I'm a fan, I was interested in checking it out. And I thought I'd share my thoughts pretty much. And I would say overall that this is a pretty solid EP. I enjoyed this EP. It's definitely an EP that is a bit all over the place in terms of its sound. It's a rock EP through and through, but it explores a lot of different styles of rock music, as you'll be able to see as I explain some of these tracks in a bit more detail. And as you might be able to guess from the title of this EP, the quality of the music here isn't, the highest production or anything quite like that. It's closer to a demo quality for the most part, I would say. Though I would say that even for, demos, these sound, for the most part, pretty good. Like, these are all pretty listenable songs. They don't sound like demos recorded on, like through a potato or something like that. They're acceptable recordings, I would say, for the most part, which makes the listening experience for this thing better than I guess it would have been had it been recorded through like a potato or something. I don't know. It sounds pretty fine is what I'm trying to get at. As I mentioned before, this EP features a wide array of different types of rock music being played here. The first track, Blaze for Days, is more of a alternative rock song, I guess you could say, a more straightforward alternative rock song. Kind of reminds me of something that I could have heard coming out of the 90s or something like that. I don't know, it just gives me that vibe, to be honest. But it's a pretty solid song, probably one of my favorites in the entire track listing. It has a very catchy chorus that just easily gets, stuck in your head, and it sounds pretty familiar to me. I think the chorus in particular is the part that kind of gives me some 90s vibes. I'm not really sure why, again, but it does. Another thing I think about this track that is really good is the lyrics here. Definitely a very interesting story being told, kind of the narrator having someone in their life die, and having this person, the narrator, just not really care all that much because the person who died was an awful person. It's a pretty interesting thing, and it doesn't sound all like that odd. Honestly, when I thought about it, I thought maybe there'd be more songs out there with this theme being explored, but I really can't think of many off the top of my head aside from this one. So yeah, pretty original topic for this song here, made for a pretty interesting story being told, and definitely makes for an engaging listen overall. It's a good start to the EP, and it's one of my favorite tracks on the project. The second track, Good Night and Good Luck, is a funk rock song that sounds heavily inspired by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. In fact, there are some moments on this track that I feel are, I could imagine the Red Hot Chili Peppers making, a song like this, to be honest. If you told me that this was a cover of a Red Hot Chili Peppers song that I had never heard of before, I would probably believe it, and I think it's a pretty good song overall. I like the funky elements in here, of course, given that I am a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. It's just a solid cut overall, I would say. The third track, Prototypical, is probably my least favorite in the track listing, mostly because on this track, the mixing I feel is at its worst overall. I do like how, this track has a very aggressive feel to it. It's definitely a punk song through and through, and I like the aggression, I like the lyrics, I like the overall anger that's on display here in this track. However, the vocals on this track are noticeably, louder in the mix than a lot of the rest of the instrumentation. And as a result of this, given that, both the vocals and the instrumentation have a lot of, are supposed to have a lot of bite to them in this track, it just kind of leaves the instrumental feeling kind of weak in comparison to the vocals. I felt like the, guitars and the rest of the instruments should have been up, louder in the mix just to make it a bit more aggressive overall. But still, I do like many aspects of this track. I wouldn't say it's a bad song by any means, just probably my least favorite in this EP. The final two tracks on this EP are probably the two most similar out of any on the entire project, given how both have a sort of acoustic feel to them that I feel like was done pretty well for the most part. And even though these two tracks are probably the most similar in the track listing, they definitely have, elements to them that distinguish them from each other. The first of these two tracks, The Same As Me, has a very nice inclusion of some harmonies where Crash is kind of, singing, and, he'll include his vocals multiple times over to create some harmonies with himself, and it just sounds very nice. I like it a lot, and it's easily the highlight of this track in my opinion. And then the closing track to this project, Forget Me When I'm Gone, I feel is another one of the strongest in the entire track listing. In fact, it might be my favorite song on the entire EP. It has, once again, a slower feel to it, and the lyrics here are, probably the reason I like the track as much as I do. It really features Crash kind of contemplating on his life and, eventual death, I guess you could say, and, he's kind of going through all the things that you would probably think about when, thinking about these topics, and I just felt like it was done very well in my opinion. The slower vibe of the song, the quieter vocals, I feel really add to the atmosphere of the track and the believability of the lyrics that are being sung. It's just overall a very nice closing track to this project. And while the EP as a whole, I wouldn't say has a very defined structure to it. It's really just track with one style followed by a different track with a different style. This one here, it makes for a very nice closer in my opinion, and it ties everything together very nicely. So that was a kind of unexpected surprise given how all over the place the sounds of the EP were earlier on. But yeah, this is a good closer in my opinion, and like I said, probably my favorite track on the entire EP. Overall, I would say that this is a very solid EP in my opinion. I do feel like, the biggest flaw with this project overall is probably the mixing here at times. Like I said, in particular, Prototypical probably suffers the most as a result of it. But there are some moments on the other tracks where, it is maybe a minor problem. And I do feel like if these songs were maybe touched up a bit more, polished a bit more, and didn't have this problem, this would overall be a very, 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 solid project. I mean, it still is. It's just, that's probably the biggest problem with it, in my opinion. I like the diversity of the songs on this thing. It really shows that Crash is able to do a variety of different rock styles in a way that, is effective at the end of the day, whether it be more alternative rock, funk rock, acoustic, punk. He covers a wide array of topics on this album in terms of the sound, and it works out pretty well, I would say. If you're a fan of, maybe projects that are a bit more, focused, maybe this won't quite do it for you. And, typically I am a fan of more focused, sounding projects, but given that this is a pretty short EP, I feel like the kind of all over the place sound works for it. Maybe that's just me. I'm certain others may disagree on that regard, but it didn't really bother me all that much that it was a bit all over the place in terms of the sound. And, the instrumentation on this thing is pretty solid as well. I like a lot of the guitar parts here. I like Crash's singing a lot on this thing. I like how he's able to do, quieter moments that are a bit more introspective, and then at other times just go completely all out with his voice. And I also really like the lyrics across this project as well, particularly on tracks like Blaze for Days that I mentioned before, which has had a really interesting song topic in my opinion. All the lyrics across this project I would say are at least solid, and I'd greatly appreciate seeing more from Crash in the future if he's ever up to making another EP or album or something along those lines. I'd greatly appreciate to see some more output from him in the future. But, I'm not sure if he'll do that, but regardless, you guys should probably check this EP out if you're a fan of rock music, because you're gonna like probably at least something on this thing. Like I said, there's so many different styles covered here that, whether or not you're a fan of alternative rock or punk rock or what have you, you'll find something on here that's worth your time. And yeah, with that said, I would recommend this project, and if you do want to check it out, it is, like I said, the link to his channel is in the description down below. You can listen to all the tracks there, as well as check out some of his other videos, which once again, I highly recommend that you do. This is also available for purchase in iTunes. I know for a fact that it's available there, and I know it's available for streaming through Spotify. I'm not sure if it's through Apple Music or other streaming services, but I'm guessing it likely is. But yeah, I would highly recommend you guys check this out, purchase it if you like it. And with that said, thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you'd leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel for more music-related content, things like album reviews, track reviews, countdown lists, discussion videos, all that good stuff. If you want to see more of that, make sure you subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts on this project. What did you think about these tracks? I greatly appreciate seeing your thoughts if you have some that are, either the same or different or what have you compared to mine. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay golden.